vibe.
There you go. Yeah. And there's something also written in smaller font in parentheses underneath that. Did anyone pick that up? Don't tell us, Yash. Let's see if people get it. Okay, no, no one's typing. So Yash, please reveal what's written underneath that.
It's written influencers of tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah. That's what it is. Success is about influencing. It's about persuasion. I'm going to start by sharing two metaphors with you. Two metaphors. And the titles of the two metaphors are, number one, the game of darts. Have you ever played darts? You know, you have a dart board and then you have darts to throw. So number one, the game of darts. That's the title of the first metaphor. The game of darts. The title of the second metaphor. The title of the second metaphor is X versus 10X. X versus 10X. So what's the first one? There you go. I can lip read, so just say it even though you're muted. Yeah. That's right. Yes, absolutely. Guna said it correctly. I read Guna's lips. It's called the game of darts. And number two, I can lip read. Don't type it. Don't worry. I'm just going to look at you. Yes, X versus 10X. Let's get started with number one. So here's the metaphor. Okay, so we're at a game gallery, and there's a dart board, and the dart board is 12 feet away from you. And I put 10 darts in your hand. Okay, so we're at a game gallery. I put you 10 feet away from the dartboard, put 10 darts in your hand, and I want you to hit at least one bullseye. Okay, anybody ready? Wave and say if you'd like to give it a shot. Yeah, very good, excellent, good. A lot of us would like to try. Now, let me give you some more information. If you hit a bullseye with any one of these 10 darts, you win $1 million. Anyone interested now? Anyone interested? Hands up. There you go. Hands up, thumbs up. There you go. All right, very good. So you have 10 darts. If you get one bullseye, just one bullseye, you get $1 million. Oops, I forgot to tell you the rest of the story. If you miss all 10, you don't get a bullseye on any one of the 10, you've got to pay me $1 million. Anyone interested now? Oh, Santosh, you have, oh, there you go. You guys are probably professional dart players, but there's many hands on this chat. Would you guess that would not have gone up? Isn't that right? Okay, so now let me just change this a little bit further. So let's say I'm giving you 10 darts, $1 million if you hit the bullseye, and if you miss all 10, you got to pay me $1 million. Do you think majority of people would say yes or no? This is yes and this is no. What do you think majority of people would say? Would they say yes or would they say no? That's right. Majority of people would say no. Okay, because the chances of success are very, very low. It's very risky. Let's change the game a little bit more. What if I give you 100 darts? So I give you 100 darts and I give you 24 hours. And you just have to keep shooting darts. You have 100 opportunities. If you hit one bullseye, you get $1 million. Do you think most people would say yes or would most people say no? What do you think most people would do? More people would say yes, isn't that right? But there's probably still a few cautious people out there and they might say, hang on a second, I'm not too sure. I don't think I'd like to take a chance because if you miss 100 out of 100, you've got to pay me $1 million. Let me take this one step further. What if I give you 10,000 darts? I give you 10,000 darts and I give you 10 days. And all you've got to do is hit one bullseye. 10,000. So you can miss 9,999 and you get one bullseye. You walk away with $1 million. How many people do you think would say yes? What do you think? Absolutely. Majority, everybody would say yes. And why do you think they'd say yes? Because the probability of success is high and the chances of failure are almost zero. All right? Because if you throw 10,000 darts, you will hit one bull's eye. Successful people learn more things, try more things, and fail more often. That's the first principle in the psychology of success, thinking your way to success. Successful people learn more things, try more things, and fail more often. This is at the foundational level of success in any profession. Whether you want to start up your own business, you want to succeed in corporate leadership, sales, management, or even if you want to open a charitable organization, if you're just willing to do more things more often, the probability of your success goes up. Let's get to metaphor number 2. This is metaphor number 2. Metaphor number 2 is X versus 10X. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd like you to answer in one word. Actually, the word that you give me will be a number. If I give you 2 options, all right? $100,000. Option 1, you get $100,000. Let me do it this way, 1 and 2, so that because we can use sign language. Option 1, I give you $100,000. Option 2, I give you $1 million. Which one would you take? Quick answer. Don't think. Just put your hands out, 1 or 2. Come on, let me see fingers. There you go. Excellent. Most people would say 2. Very good. Yeah. Actually, some people would say 1. They say, well, it depends. What do I have to do to get number 2? Is there a catch? Is there something that you're not telling me? And this is a psychology that holds a lot of people back. Successful people are optimistic. They constantly assume the best in every situation. Failures assume the worst. More often than not, and I found this particularly in Asian cultures, people feel very, very guilty to receive money. And so when you offer somebody a larger sum of money, our belief system, BS, immediately kicks in. And a lot of us are programmed with negative belief systems around money. Things like money is evil. Things like successful people are crooks. Things like if I have a lot of money, I'll lose it. Things like if I make a lot of money, I'll become greedy. And that's a belief system that very often we're programmed with. Here's an interesting statistic about successful people. Last year, in 2019, there were a total of 46 million millionaires around the world. That's right, 46 million millionaires in the year 2019. Not all, in the year 2019, by the end of 2019, they looked at how many people were worth around the world, $1 million or more. 49 million people around the world were worth $1 million or more. Here's another interesting statistic. 87% of those people were self-made millionaires. 13% inherited that money. 87% were self-made. Very, very interesting. Here's another interesting statistic. 99% of self-made millionaires are kind, compassionate, considerate, and humble. 1% or less of multimillionaires are selfish and cruel. And the media focuses on the minority of successful people who are violating the rules, and the media takes molehills and makes mountains out of them. And they take mountains of good news and they make molehills out of them. Before we learn to think like successful people think, we must put aside our inhibitions about who successful people are. Majority of wealthy, successful people are kind, compassionate, considerate, and big-hearted. There was a book written in the mid-1980s. The title of the book is The Millionaire Next Door, and the authors are Thomas Danko and William Stanley. I'm getting it, maybe it's William Stanley, Thomas Danko, all right? But Danko and Stanley researched, and they did this study in America. And they found that majority of millionaires, like I said, were self-made, and majority of millionaires were low-profile, humble people. They had a lot of money in the bank, zero debts, they had a decent life, but they didn't care about showing off or making a big noise about their success or blowing their trumpet and so on and so forth. That's what the whole book was about, and this was based on empirical evidence. There's follow-up studies done after that which confirm that same information on and on. When you meet somebody who's wealthy, who's richer than you, more successful than you, more articulate than you, more educated than you, better dressed than you, more accomplished than you, feel good for them, not jealous about them. And that is very important in the form of an emotion to foster within yourself towards other people who are at a higher status than you, in order for you to attract those situations into and towards your life. Great. Now that I've laid a little foundation, I'm going to move on and talk for a little bit. And every word that I speak about begins with the letter P. All right. So every word that I speak about henceforth begins with the letter P. Before I go forward, can I have a thumbs up on how you guys are doing? Have you gotten some value from our discussions thus far? Have you gotten some value from our discussions thus far? Do you resonate with some of the ideas that I've just shared with you? I've shared a lot of information with you already. Do you resonate with some of the ideas that I've shared with you thus far? Have you noticed, perhaps it may be you, it may not be you, but in many, many families around the world, children are brought up with misconceptions about money, are taught that money tends to bring out the worst in us. And we tend to know that. Give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, very good. There's also a lot of guilt attached to the receiving of money. We feel afraid, we feel fearful, we feel guilty to receive money. And that guilt comes from poor self-worth, poor self-esteem, and a poor self-image. Receiving is very, very necessary. And so when you develop the mindset that I deserve, I have high self-worth, and I am capable of providing more than enough value for the money that is being attracted towards me, money starts to flow into your life and you start providing value to others. Someone once told me, hey, said, hey, if you get a lot of money, won't you become greedy and selfish and mean and cruel? I'm very lucky. My mentor, Basil Harris, is a self-made millionaire. He lives in Sydney, Australia. Basil has been mentoring me for 22 years now. And he taught me this many years ago. And I've noticed this every time I've met any of Basil's peers or other successful entrepreneurs, many of whom I've had the privilege of coaching. Money does not make you more evil. Money does not make you more good. Money does not make you more selfish. Money does not make you more selfless. Money makes you more of what you already are. So if you are innately selfish and cruel and divisive, money, which is a form of power, will make you more so. If you are innately kind and compassionate and caring and unifying, more money will make you more so. So it's very, very important to do this. Now, I want to get the money talk up and out of the way first, because later on, I'm going to talk a lot about success that lies beyond money. You and I both know a lot of people who don't have money as their primary objective. For them, success is not necessarily $1 million in the bank. I have a dear friend of mine, and she's based here in Dubai, in the UAE. She's in the business of corporate social responsibility, and she has a passion for helping women and children in war-torn territories. She goes into the camps in Iraq and Palestine. She works with the government of the UAE. She works with the United Nations to channel funds towards education and empowerment and health and clean water and medication for these children, men and women who have just been put in this unfortunate war situation. For her, success is service. But she also admits that she needs to have money in order to make a lot of those dreams of hers come true. So success means different things to different people. Perhaps for you, success is $1 million in the bank. Perhaps for the person on the screen to the right of you, success is just being a very good mom or a very good dad. And perhaps to somebody else in this chat over here, success is just spirituality and connection with God. And maybe to somebody else, success is learning and education and just empowering others with knowledge. It doesn't matter. Success to each person is different things. When I coach people, I'm very cognizant to engage in conversation and discover the individual definition that a human being has about success. So if you are listening to me right now, and if you have a pen and paper, I'm going to ask you to write down the answer to this question. And the answer to this question is you asking yourself. I'm not asking you, so you're asking you. And the question is, what is success to me? You can write the question, or you can just write 1 or 2 words or 1 or 2 sentences. I'm going to repeat the question. What is success to me? What is success to me? Just write a few words, write a sentence, write half a sentence, a bullet point. It doesn't matter. What is success to me? And the moment you've written or you've completed writing, just give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. Good. Some of you are typing it in. Fabulous. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, fantastic. Great. Fabulous. Do you notice from the chat how pretty much everybody has written something different? And as more people type it in or write it in, you will notice that different people have different definitions of success. Success is what I decided. Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, is a mindset, helping others, giving back to society. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Fantastic. Fantastic. Good. Good. Best version. Ongoing process. Fantastic. Making my mom proud. How sweet, Tulika. Okay, thank you for sharing. That's really amazing. That's really amazing. Fantastic. What is success to me? Now, I'm going to ask you one more question. And I don't want you to answer this question, but I'd like you to think about this question after we finish this seminar. So once we're done with the Zoom talk and you are out of here, go away and think about this question. All right, this is a follow-up question to the first question. Remember, the first question was, what is success to me? My second question to you is, who taught me to think this way? Write down the question. Don't answer it. Do not answer this question now, please. Write the question down and think about it after everybody has gone away. When you've shut down your computer, when you're all by yourself, answer this question. Who taught me to think this way? And this is at the heart of what I do when I work with anybody who has a desire to become more successful, because very often we say things that we have been taught to say because of our education, our parents, our environment, our culture, our language, our religion, and so on and so forth, without giving much credence to what I really want, what you really want. Okay? Now, when you ask that question, who taught me to think this way? Take your right index finger and touch your heart and ask that question. Who taught me to think this way? All right. And you might realize that, hang on a second, am I just subscribing to a program, to a software, to a pattern, to a meme that has been imposed upon me by my environment, by my nature, and by my nurture? And is it because of that that I speak these words? And if you have children, your children listen to those words and they get programmed, and then when they grow up, they say the same thing. And my challenge to you is to discover the independence within you and ask yourself, who taught me to think this way? And when you discover that, perhaps you might change your definition of success. And it will not, in most cases, happen overnight. Don't expect an immediate answer from this. Now, when we look at everything that you typed up on that screen, there's one thing that's common. That's one thing that's common in all your responses. Some of you have said more charity and helping others. Some of you have said just making more money and getting a car, a house, travel overseas, education, and so forth. Ooh, Santosh, yeah. I'm an intense guy, Santosh. That's how it is. With me, we don't stay on the surface. We go very, very deep. The common thing in all your responses is one word. One word. And that one word is more. M-O-R-E, more. If you want success, you want more of something. Either you want more of money, or you want more of peace of mind, or you want more connection with God, or you want to help more people, or you want to learn more, or you want to do more. And that's the one word that classifies ambitious people from anybody who is not ambitious. And more does not have to be connected to money, although it can be. And it is very, very important for you to foster, I'm using these words carefully, foster, to cultivate a spirit of M-O-R-E in your life if you want to get ahead. And so when you define what is success to you, let the first word that you write be the word M-O-R-E. And after you write more, now write what is that thing that you want more of. Sometimes as a coach, I've worked with husband and wives, I've worked with couples, and occasionally men and women, or even parents, or families or friends who are really in love with each other, talk about more connection, more love, more relationships, more depth in my existing relationships, and more width in my relationships. When you say more width, it's the more number of relationships. More depth in my relationships is deeper relationships with the people who you already know. So ask yourself, what do I want more of? And don't answer the question, but think it. Now feel the question, allow the question to exist, permit the question to be in your environment without insisting on a response immediately. What do I want more of? When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself this question, what do I want more of? When you fall asleep at night, ask yourself, what do I want more of? In the middle of the afternoon, express curiosity to the universe without insisting on a textbook response. Most of us are trained to deliver textbook responses. And now from the word more, let's move to the first P. The first P that I'm going to talk about. How are you guys doing so far? How are you guys doing so far? Doing good? Yeah,
Amazing.
Great. Excellent. Fantastic. Great. Excellent. And now the first P. Now I've laid the foundation. These are the foundational ideas for success. Guys, I am excited about this talk because this is what I do. My whole life for the last 21 years has been about how people think and why they think and feel in the ways that they do. I've made this my life study and my mission, but I'm also challenged because the shortest workshop that I do on Think Your Way to Success, or the psychology of success, is 2 full days. And I'm looking at the time now and I have a handful of minutes before I run out of time. This is always a challenge. And with folks like Santosh and Avil who've been to my previous seminars, they know that once I get started, I'm like a machine gun rattling away with an infinity of bullets that never seems to end, okay? And that's why I've learned to pause every now so often and just wave at you and say, okay, let's take a breath. And the first P is performance. First P is performance. Because the more that you want your success, your definition of success is an enhancement of your current state in that area. Isn't that right? I worked with a lot of people who are very health conscious. For them, fitness, health, and physical discipline is very, very important. Some people put it as number 1 on their priority list. For them, it's more health. Performance for them is being in a peak health state. And when you do take care of your physiology, you also affect your psychology. Because your physiology affects your psychology when you take care of your health and permit yourself to eat healthy and do a little bit of exercise at least once a day. And sometimes even if you do 10 to 15 minutes a day, or even if you do 10 to 15 minutes for the day 3 times a week, it's okay because we're busy. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do a brisk walk. You can run on the spot, jumping jacks. Any form of movement causes your adrenal gland to release the hormones of endorphins. And when endorphins get secreted into your bloodstream, this is science 101, any form of movement causes the brain to send a signal to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland sends a signal to the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands secrete endorphins into your bloodstream, and endorphins raise your HDL cholesterol and reduce your LDL cholesterol. If you don't know what that means, that essentially is it makes your blood thinner. And when your blood is thinner, it is easier for your heart to pump. If your blood is thicker, your heart has to work harder. When your heart pumps easier, thin blood, it also secretes a hormone called NO, nitrous oxide. And nitrous oxide actually causes the heart to inflame. It's like a feeling of joy and love and happiness. A medical doctor defines happiness as an increase of endorphins and nitrous oxide in your bloodstream. That is the medical definition of happiness. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex, PFC, prefrontal cortex, or your forebrain is immediately activated. And the prefrontal cortex is the seat of creativity and higher consciousness in your and my human physiology. Basil taught me many years ago, he said, don't trust your emotions if you are not in motion. So if you're feeling sad, depressed, upset, guilty, frustrated, angry, lonely, down, and you want to change that state. So caveat, I'm making an assumption you want to change that state. One of the best tools to change your state from a disempowering state to an empowering state, from an unresourceful state to a resourceful state, is movement. The very act of straightening your back, placing your hands on your hips and raising your chin, it's called the Superman Wonder Woman posture. Superman Wonder Woman posture causes your body to release those endorphins and now changes your brain state and activates the prefrontal cortex. And this is a study done by Harvard University, a professor at Harvard University by the name of Amy Cuddy. And she did a TED talk on, I've given you the 30-second version of her TED talk. Her TED talk became the second most watched TED talk in the history of TED Talks. It got over 54 million views and counting. So I think it's called Power Postures, but if you type in Amy Cuddy TED Talks, A-M-Y, Amy, A-M-Y, Cuddy, C-U-D-D-Y, some of you are searching it already, space, TED Talks, and you watch her talk. She does a whole talk on, she did studies. They took blood tests and saliva samples, and they studied the effect on blood and the effect of DNA. They took one group of people who sat like this, hunching forward, arms crossed, closed posture, and they took blood tests before, blood tests after. They took one group of people standing in a Superman Wonder Woman posture, blood test before, blood test after, and saliva samples, and they noticed a change in biochemistry that was so significant that it was difficult to ignore. This is hardcore science, very, very powerful information. They also conducted stress interviews with these two groups of people. With the second group of people, when people who stood in the Superman Wonder Woman posture, they found that when they put them in a stress interview situation, those people performed 33% better in a stress interview as compared to the people who were slumped over like this for just 2 to 3 minutes, not 2 to 3 hours. Harvard University, 2 to 3 minutes of sitting or standing like this versus 2 to 3 minutes of standing like this in a Superman Wonder Woman posture. Boom, second most watched TED Talk in the history of TED Talks. Woohoo, and amazing changes in the biochemistry and so on and so forth. So the first P is performance. If you want to change your psychology, then change your physiology. This now causes you to think better. Fabulous. All right, there's a lot more there, but I'm going to move to the next P. Okay, Faisal, how are we doing for time? Are we doing okay? Just give me a thumbs up.
You got another 15 minutes. If you want,
okay.
You can 20 also, no problem.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So I might just circle back to performance if there is anything that's left unsaid, but this is, I'm trying to hit the key bullet points under each heading. So the first P is performance. I hope I've given you some value here with physiology and psychology. I've done work in the retail industry here in the Middle East and in Asia and in South Africa as well, where I'm thinking of one industry where I've trained over 1,000 people, the jewelry industry. These are folks who stand at a jewelry counter and sell jewelry, and they have targets that they have to achieve, daily targets, weekly targets, fortnightly targets, monthly targets. There's pressure that they receive from their boss. They also have to keep an eye on their products, because if there is theft that takes place on the counter while they are in the counter, The insurance clause does not allow the company to claim money back from that theft. They cannot leave the counter unattended, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Stress levels are through the roof. These guys worked 8, 10, sometimes 14 hours a day. This was a technique that I worked with many of them with regard to changing their physiology. So when they went away for their breaks, guess what most of them were doing when they went for their breaks? When they went for their breaks, they would look at this, and they would look down, and they would do this. And so imagine what this was doing to their biochemistry when they did this on their breaks. I said, I'm not asking you not to check your WhatsApp, but finish checking your WhatsApp quickly, and then use the rest of your time, at least 2 minutes of your break, adorning a power posture, so that when you get back to the store, you go in with a better biochemistry and better brain waves and an active prefrontal cortex. So very, very powerful stuff. That's the P of performance. Let's move to the next P. Think of these P's as concentric circles. The outermost circle is performance, and I'm going to keep going inside and inside and inside. So the outer circle is performance. The next circle after that is people. People. We're talking about think your way to success. Or a tagline for this session could be the psychology of success. The first P is performance. The second P is people. People. Basil taught me many, many years ago, and he quoted a leadership guru by the name of John Maxwell. John Maxwell is considered to be the #1 authority in the field of leadership. And Basil's mentor, Jim, who has passed away from cancer, of course, and Jim's mentor is John Maxwell. So John Maxwell mentored Jim, Jim mentored Basil, and Basil has been mentoring me now for coming up to 22 years almost, 21 and a half years. Many years ago, Basil taught me, quoting John Maxwell, he said, people don't care if you know until they know that you care. People don't care if you know until they know that you care. People don't care if you know your subject, your product, your industry, your company, your philosophy. They really don't care. People don't care if you know until they know that you care. But the moment people know that you care about them, they don't care how much you know or you don't know, but they know that you care, and they care that you care about them. This is called the magnet philosophy. If you want to attract people into your life, care about people. No matter what business you run or job you do, let me say this clearly, no matter what job you do or business you run, your greatest constraint is time. You only have 24 hours in a day. No matter how hard you eke out time, you are not going to be able to get 25 hours out of one day or 24 hours in 1 minute. Even if you don't sleep and don't eat and just work 24 hours, you cannot do more than 24 hours of work. Oh, but you can. What if I told you you can do 240 or 480 hours of work a day? Is that possible, you think? How could you do it? There you go. Prashant pretty much knows what I'm talking about. And the word is leverage. The word is leverage. And leverage is when you have 10 people in your team putting in 10 hours a day, you now have 100 hours in 24 hours. That's leverage, isn't that right? We studied this in school. Leverage is lifting a heavy weight with less force by using a tool. You had a stone and you had a rod, and you used the lever to lift a rod that you could not otherwise lift with your limited physical capacity. So when you have 20 people in your team putting in 10 hours a day, you now have 160 hours in 24 hours, and so on and so forth. But you will only get productive hours from other people when they know that you care about them. Zig Ziglar said, you can have anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. Wayne Dyer said, the measure of your life is not in its duration, rather in its donation. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Rather than pursue the love of power, engage in the power of love. Don't just be a go-getter, also be a go-giver. The second P is people. The first P was performance, and the limitation to performance is your time. The cure to that limitation is people and leverage. And the way you get leverage out of people is not by doing a hard sell, but rather doing a heart sell. And that applies for sales too. Because you can fool some of the people all of the time, and you can fool all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. The second P is people. The first P is performance. The second P is people. Now let's go to one more P, which is inside. And the third P we're going to talk about is personal. Personal. Performance, people, personal. Many years ago, my mentor asked me this question. He said, Arjun, are relationships important in business? If you think relationships are important in business, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Relationships are important in business. If you think relationships are important in life, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Yeah, absolutely. If you think relationships are important for good emotional health, then give me a thumbs up. Isn't that right? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, very important for good emotional health. If you think that the true wealth of humanity is relationships, give me a thumbs up. The true wealth of humanity is relationships. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Now, here's the other question that Basil asked me. He said, who is the most important person for you to have a relationship with? Who is the most important person for you to have a good relationship with? There you go. Yes, some of you have got the answer right. Yep, absolutely. The most important person for you to have a relationship with is yourself. Know thyself, then be thyself. Do you remember the question that I asked you way in the beginning of this session? I said, what does success mean to you? And then I asked you, who has taught you to think this way? That question has shifted, at least in my experience with hundreds and maybe a few thousand people who I've done one-on-one coaching with. I've noticed how people's lives have been transformed the moment they recognize who they really are. William Shakespeare, in his playwright Hamlet, said so eloquently. He said, above all, to thine own self first be true. Above all, this is Hamlet, William Shakespeare, above all, to thine own self first be true. Which means the highest form of truth is truth to yourself. Who are you? What kind of emotions do you feel on a regular basis? Do you feel anger? Do you feel depression? Do you feel sadness? Do you feel happiness, joy, appreciation? What are the feelings that plague you and what are the feelings that empower you? What's your value system? What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? What do you dream about? What do you think about? What do you talk about? What do you believe in? What do you not believe in? What will you live for and what will you die for? This is who you are. And there is no one answer for everybody. These are your questions for you to discover who you really are. Shakespeare said, above all, to thine own self first be true. We've gone outside and discovered outer space. We're talking about discovering that inner space. Who are you? Who am I? Great question to ask. And when you start answering these questions, we move closer to your life purpose. That's another P, right? Purpose. Personal, and now we're getting into purpose. Oh my goodness gracious, personal and purpose. I'm going to share a tool. I'm going to share a tool that you can use with you, that you can use for yourself to enhance your personal awareness and to gradually bring forth to your awareness your life purpose if you have not discovered what your life purpose is, or even if you want to ratify, verify, confirm that what you think your purpose is in fact your purpose. I'm going to just share a little tool with you. I've used this tool again with scores and scores of people, very, very powerful. The tool is an acrostic or an acronym. It's called LICE, L.I.C.E. LICE, yeah, LICE, L capital L dot capital I dot capital C dot capital E dot. And the L stands for learn, L stands for learn. The I stands for improve, L for learn, I for improve, C for contribute, L for learn, I for improve, C for contribute, and E for enjoy. If you want to raise your HQ, happiness quotient, you know, we learn about IQ, intelligence quotient, EQ, emotional quotient, HQ, happiness quotient, because when you are in a state of happiness, a lot of things become very clear. The most creative people in the world are happy, they're excited, they're enthusiastic. There are 4 questions that I encourage people who are pursuing success to ask themselves on a regular basis. Now, you could do this as regularly as once in the morning and once in the evening. You could do this as regularly as that, or you can do it twice a week. You can ask these questions twice a week, or you can ask these questions once a week, or you can ask them once a fortnight. But ask yourself these 4 questions at least once a month. Here are the questions. At the end of the day, week, fortnight, or month, at the end of the day, week, fortnight, or month, ask yourself, what did I? Write these words down. What did I? 3 words. What did I? What did I? What did I? What did I? And you write those same 3 words 4 times, and you say, what did I learn today? What did I improve today? What did I contribute today? What did I enjoy today? Like I said, maybe you're busy, fair enough. Do it twice a week, once a week, once a fortnight. Heck, if you're super busy, ask yourself these questions once a month, no stress. If you put stress on yourself by making yourself answer these questions, we're going against the purpose. We're defeating the purpose. Maybe don't do it periodically, but do it intermittently. So you could do it 3 times this week, 1 time next week, no times the 3rd week, and 5 times the week after that. Doesn't matter. So it can be intermittent as well. Break the rules, but use these 4 questions. What did I learn today? What did I improve? What did I learn this week? What did I improve this month? What did I contribute? What did I enjoy? I'm going to give you another clever play with this question. And here's what you can do in addition to the what did I.
Arjun, just I'm really sorry for jumping in, but we just have 5 more minutes from now for you to conclude on that, and then we'll be jumping on to.
Thank you. Perfect. Good. Which is great. Thank you, Yash, for that. I'm kind of coming to a close.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing you can do with these questions. Also add, what could I? At the start of the day, at the start of the week, at the start of the fortnight, at the start of the month. What could I learn today? What could I improve today? What could I contribute today? What could I enjoy today? So the could I is an intention. And the did I is a review. And if you want to do one of the two, if you want to do 2 of the 2. Now, if your what could I and what did I do not tally, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't get a whip and slash yourself, say, oh, I promised myself that I would learn this, but I didn't do it. No, very important principle of success. Forgive yourself. A lot of people I know are very, very, fabulous, happy, compassionate, spiritual people and are very good at forgiving others, but we make the dire mistake of not forgiving ourselves. Now, whether I can hear you or not, I'd like you to put your hands out like this right now and repeat after me. Go ahead, put your hands out like this right now. Now keep your chin up, back straight, take a deep breath in, feel happy, smile, show me your teeth. I want to see your teeth. Yeah, that's right, teeth, including the green stuff that is stuck in your teeth from something that you might have had for breakfast. And repeat after me, nice and loud. And say it like a song. Don't just say, I. Say, I forgive myself. Go ahead and say, I forgive myself.
I forgive
myself. Absolutely.
I forgive myself.
Now, say it like you mean it. Say it from the pit of your stomach and notice the release. And you say, whoo. Sometimes when you're in a state of stress, and especially when you're experiencing guilt, and you do this 3, 4, maybe 5, 7 times, you say it out loud, physiology and chin up, and you say this, any body pain that you have suddenly starts to mitigate and even vanish. Very, very powerful tool. Yeah. So there you go. Absolutely fabulous. So the first P is performance. The second P is people. Third P is personal. And we also spoke about purpose. And purpose are many of those questions that I said to you, that I asked you. Who am I? Discover who you are, and do not insist that discovery must unfold in a finite period of time. Don't say, I have to find out by tomorrow who I am. No! Let it reveal itself to you in the fullness of time. Just permit the unfolding. You cannot force it. This is nature. You plant a seed. Don't keep digging up the seed and check, oh, what's happening? Is it growing? No, trust that it is growing. Fertilize, water, and sunshine. That's fine. Ask the question once in a way, and release. And the subconscious mind brings it to you. Let me give you an example of how many of you are already using this. Do you remember a time in the recent past where you were looking for something? Maybe your house keys or your car keys, and you couldn't find it. Or your mobile phone, or a pen or a book that you placed somewhere in your house. And all of us have had this experience, haven't we? It's somewhere in the house. I don't know where it is. You check the living room, you check the dining table, you check the bedroom, you go to the kitchen and you don't know where it is. And you get frustrated because you can't find it. You trouble people, members of your family. And if you're like me, living alone, you don't have anybody else to trouble. So you give up. So you absolutely give up and you say, to heck with it. And you sit on the couch and you put on the television and you take your mind off that. So you ask the question, where is my phone? Where are my keys? You could not find it. So you released it. You forgot about it and you started watching television. Or you spoke to a friend of yours, or you sent an email, or you worked on a proposal. You did something else. And while you were doing something else, suddenly, flash, it comes into your head. Oh my God, it's in the bathroom. I went to wash my hands and I left my phone there. You just remember. Have you had this experience with anything?
Yeah.
Thumbs up, hands up. We have, isn't that right? Ask a question and release. When you are not thinking about something, you activate your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind, because your subconscious mind has the intelligence to regulate your body temperature, beat your heart 100,000 times a day, kill and rebirth 10 million cells every second, give you a brand new stomach lining every 5 days, give you a brand new skin every 4 weeks, create a brand new skeleton for you every 3 months, and replace every cell in your body in 1 year. That's how super intelligent your subconscious mind is, and you're not even aware that all of this is going on. It is a super powerful portion of our physiology that we do not tap into. So I'm cognizant of time right now. I prefer to finish slightly earlier than on time, but I trust I've given you a lot of ideas and information. If you're feeling quite satiated and content and satisfied with the information that you have received, just make some kind of a facial expression, or I'll leave it up to you what kind of physical signal you want to give me. or you could type something in there. You know, after you've eaten a good meal and you had the dessert and you've had a nice juice and you're just, if you're feeling that way as far as the information I've given you, just give me a sign. Either say something or type something so we know that, there you go. Excellent. Thank you. Fabulous. Fabulous. Really, really good. Great, Faisal. Great, Faisal. So, Faisal, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm going to would it be okay if I hand over to either you and Yash?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Arjun. And like Tuliga rightly said, we wish you should go on and on and on and on. You know, that's what we need. But yeah, just let's stick with the time and let's take some questions from the people around us and let's see what they are concerned about, what they are dealing with. You know, if we can really contribute some questions, you know, that will really make a lot of difference to the people out there. Thank you so much, Arjun, from bottom of my heart, and the information you give, the energy you have, the conversation you brought in. It's really touching and it is really moving inside and it is really inspiring us to take more actions. Thank you so much. And like you said, like that 4 P's, like performance, people, and person, and purpose, really something we need to be aware, and there is something we need to take actions on those 4 aspects in all part of our life. Yeah, let me take few questions. So all you need to do, go to participants, and there you can find raise the hand. Raise the hand, then I'll unmute you. I can see Conan, Shaidi, Akash, Shamir. Before I brought them to ask a question, let me ask you a couple of questions. Maybe you can answer very quickly because I don't want to stick with my
Sure. Could I also say, Faisal, that, you know, because I see some people are kind of wanting to are privately asking me questions. So I'm just going to encourage those who want to ask me questions privately. I'm very open. Faisal and Yash will share my coordinates with you. And I'm happy to have to receive emails or Facebook, LinkedIn messages.
So that's something
more than welcome. More than welcome after this talk, But right now, Faisal, let's just answer questions that are...
Is it okay if you share your contact details in our WhatsApp groups as well as here? Is that okay? You're okay with that?
Yes, absolutely. So WhatsApp group, for sure. Sometimes I might just put a voice note into the WhatsApp group so that I can articulate the response to the question rather than type it, so you can hear the question in my voice. And if you want to ask me a question privately, Facebook, LinkedIn, email, you're welcome to do so. Okay.
Yeah, I have your email with the details. I'll copy and paste it here. At the same time, I'm sharing our Empowerment Talk WhatsApp group details here. Please do log in and join our WhatsApp group. Definitely we will connect Arjun sir through our WhatsApp chat as well. Okay, my first questions to you. You mentioned about your mentor several times in your session. You know, that's really something profound, you know, which I've seen many people are mentioning so many times, like 4 or 5 times you mentioned about Basil. Like, tell me what he really made you to do, like, or how do you work with your mentor? Can you just very small few words about mentor? And please go ahead.
So absolutely, thank you for asking. That's a very important question. I think you know, I have been blessed, and one of the ways that I've been blessed is I've had good teachers in my life. And whenever I've told my teachers that I am blessed because I have good teachers, Basil once told me, he said, when the student is ready, the teachers will appear. And this is from the Tao Te Ching, which is an ancient Chinese book written thousands of years ago. When you are in a state of readiness to receive and learn, and the state of readiness and receptivity is the emotion of curiosity. The work that I do in psychotherapy, when I'm invoking success in people, I introduce them to the emotion of curiosity and encourage people to practice curiosity. Other words for curiosity are awe, A-W-E, awe. Have you seen a child? When a child looks around, wow, everything is like, wow, wow. Another word is wonderment, wow, that's amazing. Check that out, look at that color, look at that bird, look at that wall, look at that technology. Notice a child doing that. If you can do that emotionally inside of you, you will notice that you start attracting teachers into your life, and then you can choose who you want to be your physical mentor for fitness, who you want to be your spiritual mentor, who you want to be your business mentor, who you might want to be your mentor for studying Microsoft Excel. Doesn't matter. You can have multiple mentors. So yeah, that's
I
the
think
short.
that's very true with our personal stories as well. Like how, like myself and Faisal were discussing that how when we started the empowerment talks and what we had with us is just a couple of minds, and now we look back to it, we have I think 7 or 8 minds brainstorming with us on different things that we are doing to grow this community. So yeah, we are attracting the mentors as well. I have one question for you: is like, what's a normal day for Arjun like? What, what do you do like now in quarantine, or before that maybe but now what a quarantine day of Arjun is like?
There you go. So you can see my mom's on this talk. She's giving you guys a big smile because she knows my pattern for the last 21 years has pretty much been more or less the same. But I start every morning with what I call as my hour of power. And it is difficult, if not impossible, for me to not do this. In that, as soon as I wake up, I spend the first 15 to 30 minutes reading something positive. And when I'm reading something positive, I'm usually drinking hot water. Nowadays, I drink hot water with cloves inside of it, so that kind of cleans out your digestive system, and it's very, very good to drink hot water in the mornings. After that, I do exercise for at least 30, sometimes 40 minutes. That exercise could be yoga, floor exercises, a little bit of weights, just to get the physiology going. And while I'm exercising, I play an audio or a video in the background by any inspiring author or speaker. And that's how it is. When you wake up in the morning, your brain is in the alpha state. So so when you're sleeping, fast asleep, it's the delta state. Now, when you're gradually waking up, the space when your body is asleep, but you're kind of aware that you're sleeping, but you're still asleep. That's called the theta state. So the delta state is when you're deep asleep and you're like in dreamland. You're completely dead to the world. The doorbell may ring, but no, you won't even hear it because you're so deep asleep. That's delta. In the delta state, your subconscious mind is completely open and your conscious mind is closed. Remember, we said subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful.
Yeah.
Theta state, now your body is kind of awake, but you're still asleep, but you're aware that you're asleep. After this comes the alpha state. Alpha state is you've just woken up and you're kind of fuzzy. Mm-hmm. This is the doorway to the subconscious mind, and the alpha state will maintain itself for about 15 to 30 minutes from the time that you wake up. It's like a door which stays open for about 15 to 30 minutes. If you wait for 15 to 30 minutes, the door will close, subconscious mind closes, and now you're working on the conscious mind. So this is your opportunity, 15 to 30 minutes, to fill your subconscious mind with powerful messages. There are people who I know who are very spiritual, who read the Quran or the Bible or the Gita or a Buddhist text at that time because they want to imbibe spirituality. That's an individual choice. I leave that up to you. But the thing that you want to program yourself with, that's your opportunity. Use those first 15 to 30 minutes. And there's science to back this up now. And they've done a lot of studies to this effect as well. So yeah, that's my morning. Yeah.
Let me bring Akash. Akash, you are unmuted. Please go ahead and ask the question.
Hi, Arjun. Thanks a lot for a wonderful session, first of all. My question is, I basically want you to help me with one of the situations. I sometimes feel overly responsible for things which are not actually in my control,
Right.
I believe this must be happening with others too. And it kind of creates some anxiety sometimes. So what to do during that time, So if you could just help me out with that.
Right.
Joining us from, Akash? Where are you joining us from?
India, Delhi.
Okay, fantastic. So let me just summarize what you're saying, Akash, to make sure I've understood you correctly. Are you saying that you end up spending more time thinking about things that are outside your control, and hence that creates anxiety for you? Yeah? Okay, that's great. Excellent. So Basil taught me many years ago, our thinking is like a television set, and this television set has 2 channels and 2 channels only. So you can't watch 2 channels at the same time. Supposing channel number 1 is playing football, channel number 2 is playing cricket. Maybe with technology you can see both channels on the screen, but is it possible to follow both games at the same time? Can you follow a game of football and cricket simultaneously? You can't. You can follow it sequentially, not simultaneously, which means you can only focus on one thing at a time. So currently, let's say you're focusing on the football, okay, so these are the 2 channels, all right? And we want to change you to go from football to cricket, and I'm going to tell you what is football and what is cricket. Here are the 2 channels in our thinking. Channel number 1 is called ABC. ABC, areas beyond control. ABC, areas beyond control. And channel number 2, which in this example is the cricket channel, is AUC, areas under control. At any given point in time, you, me, we, humanity, each individual is either thinking of an area beyond control, ABC, or is thinking of an area under control, which is AUC. Now, the ABCs are the weather. So, for example, I would assume the weather is getting hot in Delhi. You guys are entering summer right now, and it's going to continue to get hotter. I've been in Delhi and experienced phenomenally, horrifically hot summers. Goodness gracious. I'm a spoiled Mumbaiite, so I have thin skin when it comes to that. So, but there you go. But you don't control the weather. Complaining about the weather doesn't improve the weather. Having coffee with your friends and talking about how terrible the weather is does not improve the weather. Okay, that's an ABC. You don't control the traffic either. Of course, now there's not much traffic, but when life gets back to regular, we don't control the weather, we don't control the traffic, we don't control people who are in power, whoever the ministers and MLAs and premiers and political leaders, whoever they may be, we don't control them. But majority of human beings love to indulge in sessions where they sit around for hours and hours with groups of people and talk about things and people who they do not control. If you're in a job, you don't control your boss. You may have some influence, but you do not have control over your boss. Are you married, Akash? Thumbs up if you're married. Thumbs up if you're married. Good. You don't control your wife. Your wife is an ABC. Okay, very good. Okay. Now your wife controls you because you are an area under control. Okay, so now we're saying, okay, I'm thinking a lot about ABC, and thinking about ABC is creating anxiety. And I can only think of one thing at a time. What if I now occupy my mind with AUC? When I occupy my mind with AUC, there is not enough space on my TV screen for ABC. And this is where learning and education comes in. When you get into the habit of reading good books, watching powerful videos, rubbing shoulders with big thinkers, hanging around in seminars like this, you now do not have the time, the space, and the energy to focus on things that are outside your control. You might notice that when you start doing this, the old set of friends who you were hanging out with suddenly do not resonate with you and you do not resonate with them. And in fact, that's a very good thing. If the kind of people around you change, your circumstances also change. Birds of a feather flock together. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So the kind of people, there was a study done by a major university in the United States, and they said that your income is not 10 or 20% more different than the 5 people who you spend majority of your time with. Your income is not 10 or 20% away from the 5 people who you spend majority of your time with. So you want to make more money, hang around with people who have more wealth. You want to think better, hang around with people who think better. You want to be a father, then hang around with men who are good fathers. You want to be a good husband, hang around with men who are good husbands. You want to be into fitness and health, hang around with people who are into fitness and health, and you will now start thinking like them and therefore become like them. This is not a secret, it's common sense, but as they say, common sense is not that common. Does that help, Akash?
That's very true. I don't know whether other people have given you the compliment, but your tone kind of matches with the Gary Vee in terms of how you speak, and I kind of find a lot of reality in how you are speaking and how Gary Vee's videos are. So we have 5 more minutes for the audience to ask their questions, and then we'll be jumping into our next segment of the talk. So if anybody wants to ask the questions,
I can see Shamir, I will unmute you now. Go ahead and ask the questions, please.
Thank you for the wonderful session. Actually, it's a very huge topic. I think you explained in short time, and let me show my gratitude first. Sir, I have 2 questions. The number 1 is, normally we hearing this one out to be short, not to get anger with the children, etc., etc. But at that particular moment, we're not able to control our angerness. We say everything, we listen everything, okay, fine. But one time we say, second time, third time, and they have not listened. Suddenly we are just at that particular second, I'm saying, talking about the particular, then we feel, oh, sorry, we should not do it. Oh, sorry, we should not. Then we neglect for it. Then we say sorry. Then we buy them ice cream, juice, something. Sorry, my. And after that, next 2 days, 3 days, we do the same thing. That's one question. And second thing is, sorry for the, and second is how to fix the goal. Before, at the age of 25, 30, we have many goals. Now I think it's something we are in the comfort zone. Now we see what goal. Okay, we are listening what goal. It's our goal, but still we are asking to someone how to fix the goal. Yeah. So you have any method so that we can say, if without goal, nothing going to happen.
Yeah.
So how to fix the goals, and this is a second.
Just before you start, Arjun, on the questions, I just want to tell you, Shamir, that we're going to be having a detailed goal setting session as well in the near future. So maybe you can touch up on to that topic. But yeah, a short answer on Arjun on this would help.
Yes, absolutely. That's fabulous, Shamir. Thank you for asking those 2 questions. I'm just going to very quickly, and I'm going to give you the short version. There's a lot more to this. You're welcome to reach me for the detailed version to the answer to these questions. I do like a 2-day program on question number 2 and a 2-day program on question number 1. And I'm trying to keep it like 20 seconds each. So let me get to your second question first and to your first question second. And your second question has to do about goals. And here's the thing, 1979, Harvard University did a study, and that's become a world famous study now. And here are the 3 numbers, 84, 13, 3. 84, 13, and 3. These are the 3 numbers. Harvard University, study done in 1979, conclusions reached in 1989. Follow-up studies done by Cornell, Yale, Stanford, all verifying pretty much the same numbers. The original numbers was 84, 13, and 3. When I say these 3 numbers, you guys, I know a lot of you folks would know. I mean, when you just hear these 3 numbers, what do you see, hear, feel with these 3 numbers? 84, 13, and 3. 84, 13, and 3. The total is equal to 100. I hope you got that. Yep. 84, 13, and 3. Just add it up, it comes to 100, right? So they asked the graduating class of 1979 at Harvard University. Harvard University MBA graduating class. How many of you have goals? They asked the graduating class of Harvard University 1979. How many of you have goals? They said, that people they started putting their hands up and stuff like that. What they found that 84% of the students of the graduating class of Harvard University in 1979 had no goals, 0 goals. 13% had goals, and 3% had written goals. 84, 13, and 3. Harvard University, 1979. 84% had no goals, 13% had goals, but not written. 3% had goals and written. Then they followed this class. This was sponsored by the government of the United States and the university. They probably spent a few $1 million on this back in the day. And they revisited all these students 10 years later. And here's what they found. They went to the 13% who had goals. And they found that on average, the 13%, first they looked at money, then they looked at the intangibles. The 13% on average were earning double of what the 84% per person, comparing person to person, were earning double. They also found that on average, the 13% had better health, slightly better relationships, and were doing better in other areas of their life, which are the non-money areas as well, contribution, whatever, goals and dreams they had. Few exceptions, but majority of it was this way. Then they went to the 3%. The 3% who had written goals, followed up 10 years later. The 3% were earning 10 times more than the entire 97% put together. 10 times. The divorce rate was also 10 times better, in the sense that people stayed in marriages, okay, and had healthy relationships with their spouses, men married to women, women married to men. The children in those families were happy, healthy, emotionally sustained, children, and so on and so forth. And that's what they found. Very, very interesting, the very act of writing down your goals. Now, there's a whole process of writing down your goals. Shamir, when you get in touch with me, I'm happy to send you an audio and give you some ideas on how powerful it is to write. When you write a goal, you use 3 out of 5 senses. Okay, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. Writing is feel, you can touch, okay? Writing is also seeing because you see what you write. Writing is also hearing because you hear your thoughts. So you engage 3 out of 5 senses when you write, okay? That's the powerful thing. Now let's come to your first question, which is your anxiety, your anger. And your anger going away is also a goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it is. Okay, very good. Now we spoke about writing your goals. How about you discover the opposite of anger? So if you write, I want to be less angry, if you write that, chances are you will be more angry. Because if I tell you, don't think of a pink elephant, don't think of a blue banana, don't think of a yellow Lamborghini, what do you think of? The pink elephant, the blue banana, the yellow Lamborghini. So you cannot say, I want to have less anger. Find a word that resonates with you. For you, the word could be peaceful. It could be happy. It could be forgiving. You decide what the opposite of anger is. And write as often as you can. And here are the words, right? I am. The words I am are very, very powerful because your I am is your identity. I am calm. If you just write, I am calm. I am peaceful. I am considerate. I am forgiving. You will notice that 21 days of doing this, Shamir, 21 days of writing this 10 times a day, I can almost promise you your anger will go down by 30 to 50%. It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. It takes 21 days for a chicken to hatch its egg. In 21 days, you form new neural pathways, and the 3 out of 5 senses writing causes you to form a new emotional behavior. That new emotional behavior, when repeated, becomes a habit. That habit now becomes your personality and your character, and that changes your results and your destiny. So apologies for slightly.
No problem. I think.
Okay,
Exactly.
just on this, we may need to extend a session for 5 minutes for the audience. So I apologize for the increase that we need to do to have the other segments. So we will be taking one more question. If Faisal, if we can
I
take.
think it's okay. See, there are few people I definitely to bring, and after 4 o'clock, what we'll do, we'll extend half an hour more, which usually we do 15-minute feedback session. We'll extend for half an hour more, but we will finish the session exactly at 4 o'clock. Then whoever would like to stay, you can stay. Okay. I want to bring 2 people definitely. One is Sandosh, a little bit later. Also Tulika Pradeep, because her messages are really profound. The question, I think, let me ask Dr. Smita Prabhagar to come over. Then I will ask Conan Shahidi later. Dr. Smita, you are unmuted right now, and please go ahead.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would like to say this. I wish this session never ended. It was one of the best sessions I've ever heard, and it's very, very deep. And I would like to say that you do not. It's not just about what did they say about the person who you're listening? I thought that how come Jim Carrey is right here in front of us? He's one person who has actually made a huge impact in terms of performance, in terms of the person who is, in person of how he's touching the world, which is messages and which is teachings. So I was just thinking, oh, Jim Carrey is right here in front of us, and you were absolutely brilliant. I wanted to also just add one thing about the frequency, the Tao Te Ching. I follow the same frequency meditation, similar thing that derived from that at 4 a.m. And I use that half an hour, the 30 minutes, to just help people. So now I'm new to social media. I've just started doing Instagram Live to just
give me 15 minutes and I'll send you what you want.
So
like
just
if this call is the follow-up call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Smita ma'am. Now, let me take one more person. Tulika, are you available to share a few words? Then we'll go to the next session. Details. Tulika, are you there? I think she's not there. All right. Now let me
I think Tulika typed up some stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So her question might be on the chat.
All right.
There, Faisal.
For your kind words. Yeah, that's right. All right. I'm sharing Coach Arjun Iyer Facebook details, LinkedIn details, and the contact number in the chat box. Whoever would like to contact Coach Arjun, please do contact him. All right. Yash, let's go ahead and do the introduction of the next speaker. And let's have a word from Arjun. How do you like about the sessions, and a few words about Empowerment Talk before you close? Yeah.
Thank you very much from the people who have joined us from all over the world. Today's session was very, very exciting for all of us to get to know about how the things about success
Also,
work.
your mom. We want to hear a few words from your mom, maybe after the closing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great. Wow. And Tulika's putting a message saying unable to unmute and can I speak as well.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom's right there. So you're more than happy to ask her any questions. She knows all my secrets.
Just I'll conclude the like the mandatory parts, and then we'll be moving to the general parts. Because so yeah, thanks a lot, Arjun, for joining us and giving you a wonderful talk to Empowerment Talks. We are blessed today to have you today. Just a 1-minute feedback on how you like to be, like how was your experience coming to us and coming to this platform and spreading the message to the people.
Well, I think I have a message for everybody who's on this talk, and in that I'd like all of you to express and feel gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness towards Faisal and Yash. What these guys are doing is incredible. They are putting their time, their energy, their effort, their passion towards selflessly serving each one of you. You guys are in different life situations around the world and are gaining value. Talks like this, and I come from this industry, usually cost hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to attend. And in the comfort of your home, by only investing an hour or two, it is because of folks like Faisal and Yash that you have the opportunity to affect your life and then therefore affect the lives of many other people. So that is what I'd really like to say to each one of you guys. Stay tight with Faisal and Yash and support them. I'm going to encourage you guys to maybe volunteer, ask Faisal and Yash, how can we help? I'm going to encourage all of you to ask Faisal and Yash this question: how can I help? And give them some of your time, because what they are doing is incredible, and partake in the expansion of consciousness that they are engaged in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arjun, for a wonderful. Yeah, we do need help. We realize this over a time that we need help in different aspects. Yeah, but thanks a lot. Yeah, we are growing and we are happy doing it, and that's what is bringing this energy to you every day. Now we have a special vote of thanks session for Arjun, and today's vote of thanks session will be conducted by Mr. Prashant. Now, he is a Marine captain. He has a specialization in dynamic positioning, which is a skill required by oil and gas industry. He has assisted his mentor in writing a technical book. Presently, he is looking after insurance for one of the clients of his company. He has been into Empowerment Talks audience from past, I think, from the starting. I have been seeing him in the video, but never got the chance to interact with him in person. And today he is doing the vote of thanks action for Mr. Arjun. So over to you, Mr. Prashant.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. First of all, I really thank both of you for making this platform where it is possible to share such knowledge. And Mr. Arjun Iyer, thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And you have indeed mastered and perfected the art of training. I can endorse that. No doubt, you are an energy alchemist. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Prashant.
So these are the few points, a few takeaways that are on your screen from Coach Arjun. Purpose, passion, personal field performance. This is what boils it down to all his talk. Now, before we jump on to introducing our next speaker, what I would love to know is, please spread our word across. We have your Facebook group, WhatsApp groups, and Instagram Instagram links on the chat box there. Please spread the word across to the community. We are doing it for the community, and we want it to spread as much as we can, so that we get motivated, we get connected to best speakers in the world, and we bring them to this platform. Now we'll be having I officially conclude the call now. We'll be having 15 more minutes of feedback sessions of Arjun's mother's gonna be on live with us. So maybe my parents, maybe they are also watching, so they will also come up. So yeah, so there is a lot lined up, but if you want, officially the call is over. So yeah,
All
take
right.
care and be excellent to the universe.
Thank you so much, Yash. Where is your mom?
I think, she had, because she told me there was another appointment that she had. That's why
All right.
Yeah.
Now let me bring Tulika, then Sandosh, then Saidarias, few words from each one of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Tulika, please go ahead.
Hi, Coach Arjun. It is amazing listening to you for the second time. I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you so much for the insightful session. It is really amazing. And thanks a lot, Yash and Faisal, for organizing this. It's been amazing. I've been part of a couple of your sessions. This is my 4th session, I guess. I always make sure to join in on time so I could attend. Coach Arjun, I have no words to express for you. It's been just amazing and spectacular. The things that you say actually make me go back and think about what exactly it is. And I go back and I actually follow and practice what you say. I like the way you spoke about the goal setting agenda. I would love to consult you if possible. And if you could do the session, and if you could also train me just like you've told about the other one, it would really help me. I just wanted to ask you one question about which you've already answered actually in the Dubai Jobs Hunt when you were organizing. It's very difficult in this situation, to cope up with things like, this adversity. You try to keep yourself positive. We did hear about Ashna as well, the other speaker the other day, that you should do spot jogging, and that really motivates you and pumps you up. But is there anything that you could suggest us for people who are actually undergoing a lot of stress and looking for jobs, really stressful at the moment? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Tulika. So there's this, there's a lady I'm coaching now, and she has set goals, and I think she's kind of achieving her career goals. But what we're working on is emotional goals with her, and one of the emotions that she is challenged by is the emotion of anxiety. And when she receives pressure from life circumstances, this could be her colleagues, sometimes even people in her personal life and family, she experiences a certain amount of anxiety. So here's what we did. We actually started to quantify her anxiety. And I said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very low anxiety, 10 being very high anxiety, let's give me an average score. What kind of anxiety do you feel? So she said like 8.5. I said, okay, you're at an 8.5 anxiety. So that's a lot of stuff going on, but she's using a lot of strategies towards it. This was a few weeks ago. I'll tell you what's happened now. And I said, so where do you want to be? She said, I want to be at 0. I said, okay, that's great. So you want to go from 8.5 to 0. And so you want me to pull a rabbit out of a hat as well, do you? We can't go from 8.5 to 0, but we can go from 8.5 to 8.4. Oh. Now, just the thought of going from 8.5 anxiety to an 8.4 anxiety makes the goal suddenly so much more achievable. Saying, hang on a second, I'm not setting a Herculean, a mammoth mountain of a goal for myself. I'm just setting a tiny goal to reduce my anxiety by, say, 2% or 3%. And then maybe the next day I want to try and go from an 8.4 to an 8.2. So the things that you are doing, the spot jogging, the reading, the meditating, the watching positive, seminars and things like that, when you have an expectation that those things should get you from an 8.5 to a 0 and they don't, you now experience disappointment, and now you have anxiety and disappointment. Oh. So it's worse off. Rather, if you say, hang on a second, if I can just go from an 8.5 to an 8.2 or an 8, now this is a more realistic emotional goal that you set for yourself, and your expectation from that tool is a more practical expectation, and you bring it down from an 8.5 to an 8. And even if you take a whole week to do that, that is still progress. And pat yourself on the back and say, all right, next week I'll try and get from an 8 to a 7.5. And over a period of 2, 3, 6 months, maybe I can get down to a 2 or a 3. And even if you don't go to a 0 anxiety, maintaining a 2 or a 3 anxiety is actually healthy anxiety. It's called eustress, not distress, which is a version of stress that actually keeps you creative and active and so forth. So that's like my big picture perspective. Rather than telling you what to do, I'm recommending that you think about stress and anxiety in a slightly different way. Let's not focus on removing it. Rather, let's focus on reducing it, and then to reducing it by something, by a very tiny amount. And any tiny amount compounded over a period of time is a very big amount. You have a financial manager coming tomorrow. The key to financial investments is one word and one word only, and that word is compounding. Which means when you do a systematic investment plan, as long as you're investing regularly over a period of time, 5, 10, 15 years, there's a geometrical progression and your investments grow. It's the same thing with your emotions. It's the same thing with your health. If you exercise just 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, and you do it for 1 week, not much happens. But when you do it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the extent of health benefit that you get in the second year is 5 times more than the health benefit that you get in the first year because of compounding. So it takes you a long time to go from an 8.5 to an 8, but it suddenly accelerates, and the movement from an 8 to a 7.5 is slightly faster. 7.5 to 7 is even faster. And I know this because I have worked with people. I've worked with 5 people who've been suicidal so far. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of folks on the verge of divorce. I've worked with family conflicts. I worked with people who had very harsh emotional realities that they're dealing with. But never look at emotions as a linear progression. Look at it as an exponential progression where you get very little results in the beginning, and that seems unfair. And you get a lot of results in the end, which is also unfair, but that unfair is better than this unfair. So there you go. Back to you, Tulip.
Thank you, Arjun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me bring Santosh. Yeah, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, coach.
Hey, what's up, dude?
I'm too fine.
Tulika, can you give me a thumbs up if you're happy with that? Because I didn't see you. Can you just say you're okay? You got okay. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
I think she'll be happy for another 1 month for whatever.
Bless her. Yes.
Okay, coach. I mean, I'm really lucky to have you all the time. I mean, every time I see you, and you're always around. And
we are lucky to have you, Santosh. We have been joining us from daily, like every day.
I mean,
some particular faces I see daily, and one of them are Santosh.
Yeah, some days I really avoid because I'm sure at some point of time people will be fed of my faces. You know, like
no, never, Santosh.
I mean, who is this guy? This guy have nothing to do. So, okay.
We have nothing to do as well.
So, coach, yes, I mean, you have been one of the best things to happen to me this year. I mean, especially when I was doing my difficult times, and you have been a great coach to many, and especially your talks. I mean, this is not the first time I'm hearing you. I've been to Job Seek, I mean, Job Hunt. You have been speaking like 3-4 times now, and like every time you speak, you never speak on the surface. I mean, there is something so intense. In fact, like during the last session, it was so intense. People started crying or getting emotional. And again, I mean, I have been attending your session now. This is another session, but I got something new, which is like LIC, which is learn, improve, contribute, and enjoy. And I don't know, like from these things are coming from nowhere, and every word's coming up your mouth is like wisdom. So thanks for being there for the community, and thanks for coming on this show. And again, I thank you guys. I mean, Faisal and Yash. I know how difficult.
What happened to Santosh now?
God bless you guys, man. Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, dear. Let me ask Sarita Riaz. Then let me ask, can everyone please come on video? I would like to take a couple of photos because there are 67 people still online. Can you please come on video, and I'll ask few people to come on audio as well. Our Takyuddin is there. Our own, virtual. Okay, let me go to Sarita now. Few words from Sarita, please.
You're taking the photos, I'll pose.
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, let me take one photo first. Yay! One page number 2. Okay, a lot of people still need to come out of the video. Please come. Okay, page number 2. All right, page number 3. Jayashree is there. Jayashree, please come on video. All right, okay, 3 pages done. All right. Yeah, Sarida, please go ahead.
So first of all, thank you so much, Yash and Faisal, for what you're doing for the community. So, I think a lot of people have expressed their gratitude, and I have not attended all the sessions, to be very honest, because I do work, and this is the time when I have my meetings. So today, Arjun, thank you so much for coming, and your quote, when the student is ready, the master appears. I think it applies to me as well. I jumped out of a meeting to attend your call at 3:20. So you can imagine how much I heard of what you talked to people. But that was really mind-blowing. I'm going to go back and hear your recording in its entirety. And I'm ashamed to say that I haven't come across you earlier, but I'm so thankful to Faisal and Yash for introducing you to this platform. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom to everybody. And that itself is it's a blessing for each one of us. And thank you for what you do. And I would go back and hear your recording. I had one question, if you have a time.
Please go ahead.
So I'm a strong believer of visualizations and writing down the goal setting and so on. I do that, and I did it at a time when this wasn't so popular, even from my school days. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it anyway. And it worked. And when I look back and I know that, okay, these were the things. And, I knew the secret before Rhonda Byrne wrote The Secret.
Wow.
But I knew the secret. It was called The Secret when the book came out.
So you must be one of that millionaire already.
Yeah, at heart, I'm a millionaire at heart, for sure.
Okay,
So my question to you, Arjun, we write down. Sorry, somebody was saying something.
No, you can
my
go
question to you, my question is, we write down what we want. Yeah, so it's something like, I am happy, I am blessed, I am rich, I am, whatever. But I also heard something like the circle of concern. Something like, if something is really worrying you, you need to write that down as well. And once you write it down, it's like, that's taken care of. And when I heard it for the first time, I did not believe in it, because I thought, if you write something down, that's going to be set in stone and that will never go up. But I can show you this book of mine where I have wrote down something like one full page of my circle of worries. This is something I wrote down 1 year ago. And today I have ticked off each one of those except for one or two. I was worried about my father's sickness, but he's no more today. So these were one of two things that, that worry was taken care of. But everything else in this list was taken care of. And how does that work? And my question to you on that. Yeah.
Great. Excellent. All right. So this brings us to, thank you for asking, Sarita, fabulous, to the root of psychotherapy. And when we look at emotions, we've got to understand that broadly speaking, when we look at emotions, there are two types of emotions. There are static emotions and there are dynamic emotions. Okay, so let me give you an example. At the base of the emotional scale is despair, depression, or sadness, right? Despair, depression, sadness, fear, maybe even worry, but sometimes worry is also fear, like we're worried and we're fearful. So that's the base emotion, the bottommost emotion. It's a very static emotion. And the static emotion is an emotion that's stuck. It's difficult to remove. It's difficult to take out. Next emotion above that is guilt, shame, and regret. Guilt, shame, and regret is the next emotion. If somebody was feeling depressed and now they're feeling guilty, they have actually made progress, because it's better to feel guilty than to feel depressed. When you're feeling depression, sadness, despair, worry, fear, one of the tools that we use to break through the staticness of that emotion is the tool that you've used, which is writing that thing down. Because we've got to bring some dynamism into that staticness in order to release it and move to the next level. The moment you start feeling the emotion of guilt, shame, or regret after doing something like this, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but if you do, it's okay. It's very, very healthy. Guilt, shame, regret is still static, but it's more dynamic than despair and depression. So that's one of the tools. Another tool that I have worked with people is a tool that I shared in the Dubai Jobs Hunt, where Santosh spoke about, is where, particularly, I've seen a lot of the women I've worked with, where they've had a lot of challenging times, and especially if they're a single mom, they're trying to put on a brave front and just be strong on the outside, but there's a lot of pain on the inside. The assignment that I give them is to cry. And when you allow yourself to cry about the thing that you're feeling sad about, because we say, no, I need to be strong. Strong people don't cry. No. If you don't cry, it will eat you up inside. It's okay to cry. Psychotherapy 101 to dealing with depression. It's okay to cry. You need to permit yourself to cry. That's the food poisoning, venting out of the emotions. Now you get into guilt and guilt, shame, regret. And then after that comes envy and jealousy. After envy and jealousy, now we're getting a little bit more dynamic. We actually come to rage, revenge. Wow, that's dynamic. Then anger and arrogance. The anger family, rage, revenge, anger, arrogance, frustration. That's the anger family, is a dynamic emotion. So with a dynamic emotion, it's very exciting to take the opposite of the emotion and work with that. Bang, 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 bang. With a static emotion, we need to first purge and then after that work on other solutions. So this is at the root of psychotherapy, which is what I do as well. Therefore, different strategies. Hence, this is a fabulous strategy that can work in this situation. It's much better to be angry than it is to be depressed. Much better. So if you're feeling anger and you were feeling depressed, congratulations, you've made progress. And then getting anger out is a lot easier than getting depression out, because anger is dynamic. It's moving. If it's moving, all we have to do is steer it. You can't steer a parked car. Imagine a car that's parked, engine off, very difficult to move. Car moving, yes, you can steer it and move it in the right direction. So anger management strategies tend to be simpler. I'm not going to say easier, simpler, because there's motion in that emotion, In the static emotion, we need to create motion, and hence we use a tool like this. So there you go. That's I'm giving you a concise version of the. So I trust that's answered your questions.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you, Arjun, and thank you, Sarita. Actually, there are still 56 people online, and it's like I don't want to take the trouble of shutting my meeting room and sound rude to people. But yeah, we do have certain protocols to follow. So maybe not be, and we'll be shutting it now. But what I'll be using it, I'll be unmuting Alexander, because for tomorrow's session, he will just give the prep of who the person is. He personally know that guy. So just for tomorrow's session, he will be, I think he's a student. Alexander, if you can speak about tomorrow's speaker and how they can prep themselves, and maybe like we may need to, increase our capacity, or I don't know.
Can you unmute me?
Yeah, you are unmuted.
Okay. Hi, Arjun. Really nice to connect here. I mean, we go back quite a few years. I've been part of the personal transformation industry for quite a few years, and it's really amazing to see all the 25-30 years of knowledge sort of getting distilled back into this golden nuggets. Definitely, Yash, Faisal, really fantastic that you're able to get these pearls around. And for a lot of people, even like Sarita was talking about, she had not heard about Arjun. Thanks to these things, because each person brings with them their own flavor, and it's like such a very large buffet with very intricate flavors, sort of fusions and cuisines that are there.